G'day guys, how you doing? Are we live? All I can see is a blank screen in the YouTube bitsy bobber. Oh, there we go. Maybe we are live. Hello. If anyone's watching, probably talking to myself because I haven't announced it. But I'll get in there on the Discord in a minute and tell everyone that we're live. Or one of you guys, if there is anyone watching, say hello in the comments here. Don't make me feel like a crazy person talking to myself. All right, is this coming through? Say hello in the comments here. Yes, I'll say hello to myself. I feel like a crazy person talking to myself. There we go. One person watching me. Say hello in the comments here. Yes, I'll say hello to myself. I feel like a crazy person. Okay. I'll turn that off so we don't get that silly echo. All right, one sec, guys. I'm just going to write something in Discord. Where are we? Let's get that up. Are we in the Z chat? Are we in the right chat? Yep. Okay, we got some Joseph. What's up? How are you, mate? I'm good. Thanks for stopping by. If you've got any questions, drop them in there. Where am I? I'm looking in the wrong spot. Am I even? Yeah, drop them in that chat because I can see that chat. We're going to switch over to the other screen in a moment. Let me see if I can get the link. Will they let me post links onto Z after the debacle yesterday? Probably not, but let's see. Let's see. Share. Copy link. Will they let me put a link? I doubt it. Let's see. Oh, looks like Rod might have put the link for me. The live link in the bot post. Oh. All right, anyone else? Anyone else? Alex. Hey Alex, how you doing? Joseph just bought me second horse. Just bought my second horse. Genesis horse, ready for breeding open. Yeah, cool, mate. What Z number Genesis did you get, Joseph? Out of interest. UFO nut, hey? One of my biggest fans, watching all the videos, leaving comments. Thanks, really appreciate it, mate. Really, really appreciate it. Hey guys, as well, make sure while we're just doing a bit of warm up and you guys are thinking of some questions to ask me, and I've got some stuff to run through anyway, but make sure you hit the subscribe button. I know most of you have, but when new users come to ZRun and they want to learn how to play Z and they see that the biggest rating YouTube channel has only got 125 subscribers, let's try and get it to 1,000 so it gives it a little bit of credibility with those new players coming in. So they think, wow, there's some players playing this, obviously, because there's 1,000 subs here. Z10, nice, mate. As Doofy says, build that Z10 army, Joseph. It's a great way of getting in. I still think they are the best value Genesis horse in the market is the Z10. I might even rebuild my Z10 army again next drop, maybe, after I sold them all out this time around, pretty much. I kept the good ones. Just getting in, day 7. Cool. If you've got any questions, let me know. But hit that sub button, hit the like button on the live. Whilst we're waiting, you guys, some questions would be good, but let's talk about a little bit of Z, hey? Or actually, let me switch screens here. What screen am I going to switch to? Is it this one? Look at this, like a pro. Second time live streaming, not 100% true. I've done it before a couple of times, and I always stuff things up, forget to turn my microphone on. So if not informative, it'll probably be entertaining in any case. Have we got a race coming up in 5 minutes? What have we got coming up? Have I got anything running? The devs are watching, the developers happen to be watching, which they probably aren't because they've got way too many other things to be concerned with. The way this populates is very weird at the moment. The fact that you have to scroll down and populate the entire race set before you can see what is actually coming up next, which is this one here. Let's click on that. Do I have a horse in it? Excited Prince, I do. I'm not logged in at the moment, so there you go. On Miller's Road is my brother's. Okay, let's have a quick squiz and see if we can't get a win up early on the stream. Now, I'm not just going to be streaming. I'm going to be talking about odds and the importance of odds again, because there's something else that I've sort of come across that's really, really important. But we'll let this race run out. Anyone else watching have a horse in this race? I've got the number 10. I don't even know what numbers they're in. Miller's Road, which is actually is the number 10. And Excited Prince looks to be running in 11. These two here. Miller's we've had for a while. Me and my brother are in this together, so we have two stables. But Miller's been a champion for a while. Prince is new. We only bought him last week, and he's doing really, really well. 25% win rate, and we've pretty much only run him in paid. Now that I've said that, now that I'm watching, they'll probably come last and second last, but anyway. Where are we at? 300 to go. Automatic Creative or Creation or something is winning. Is Miller. Has Miller got anything? Doesn't look like Miller or Prince has got anything to offer at all. Oh, Miller might have got fourth. The dreaded fourth, right? It's not great. We don't want fourths. The curse of fourths. There we go. Automatic Creative. Congrats to the owner of that horse. I haven't seen that one running a lot. Maybe it does. I don't follow this division a great deal. Okay. We'll have a quick look at what else is coming up. Class 4. There's a bigger Class 2. No, I don't have any word on Complex. Other than that, I think as a community, we probably should have seen that coming a little bit better. And I can take some of the blame myself. There was some pretty dodgy messaging in behind the scenes from Complex and Jeff. I can't remember the rest of Jeff's name. And I just ended up blocking Jeff initially. And I was still working with Complex right up until I didn't do a single sale with him, which is kind of good. But I was still working with Complex right up until the heist. But I asked for a Z admin to be the intermediate, and I got fresh air after that. But yeah, I think as a community, probably a lot of us saw some clues there, and we could have maybe seen that coming a little bit better. But it's something to learn and keep an eye out for in the future. Just protect our community as much as we can. For sure. Okay, now what did I want to talk about? Well, odds. Let's go back to full screen for a sec. Go back to the full screen. Odds, if you guys live and learn, Oddwood and Upwood, absolutely. We have an incredible community, and the development team behind Zed, the entire team, is phenomenal. They've got a great product, a great team. We're building a great community. I see nothing but success going forward and coming out of that yesterday. I think we're right at the beginning of this, and we're only going to see this explode into the future, because we all know how good this game is, and everyone that comes in is like, wow, this is incredible. And we haven't really, or a lot of you guys haven't really seen the amount of fun and the addictive nature of breeding yet. So watch out for that. It's something else. When you breed, it's similar to buying a Genesis horse, because when you buy a Genesis, it's like scratching a lotto ticket. You don't really know what you've got till you put it in its first race and get those odds and start maybe winning or whatnot. But as soon as you start breeding, it's exactly the same, because you breed two really great horses together, and you might have the next Pink Man or one of these hot horses that's going to make upwards of tens of thousands of dollars potentially. And you could have that. It's like, wow, have I got it? Have I got it? And you're hoping that your horse has those $3, $4 odds in its Griffin. And if it does, then you're really onto something, and away you go. I mean, I've seen bred horses from Paddy Jack Harley's stable at $1.80 before the reset. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. Just how on earth are you getting these bred horses? Phenomenal. So that's the fun part about breeding, and we're going to see that probably in the next, I'm guessing after the next drop. I think they'll wait for the next drop and then we'll go into breeding, because breeding is going to soak up a lot of the incoming demand as well. And we don't really want to, you know, we want to get some of these Genesis sold, and then when breeding starts, we can roll back a little bit on how many Genesis get released each drop, I suppose, and then let them last a bit longer as the prices go up probably. Kyle, got your first horse from me. Awesome, mate. How's it going? If you need, this is something new that Poseidon or myself and my brother are going to be developing, but we're going to be, when we breed our horses as well, we're going to offer full statistical support and advice. So I'm going to probably set up a private Poseidon group where you can ask questions about your Poseidon bred horses, and we will give you advice on distances and odds and how to race them and how to breed them, because we're going to be looking at bringing people, experts in, data crunchers in, to really look at how breeding works and how racing works on the finest levels. And the people that buy horses off us, this is just the overall vision at the moment, but the people who eventually buy horses from our stable will get access to all that data as well and that advice. Yes, Kyle, I do use the API, but I don't know how to hook it up. I had someone do it for me on Upwork, which is a what do you call it, like a contract, a job sharing site where you ask someone to do something and they give you a price. So you could do that too, or ask in the Discord forum. One of those data cruncher technical people will be able to help you get access to the data, I believe. All right, odds. Oh, I wanted Zest. Let's go to Zest Play. I know oh, that's not Zest Play, this is... Yeah, Paul says that maybe even the worst Genesis are good parents. Absolutely, that could be a thing. We don't know enough about breeding, to be honest, about what to hold and what to sell. Now, myself as a stable, I am selling a lot of my non-race performing Genesis to buy more Genesis, to then run them, see if they're good, and then potentially sell the ones that are not up to the top 5% races that I'm looking for. I'm still selling a lot of good Genesis races, but they're not quite at the elite level that I'm looking for. So I prefer to sell and then buy and keep the best of the best. Now, whether the best of the best are going to be good breeders is also yet to be fully determined, so we don't know that. All right, the one thing that I did want to talk about here with the odds is again the fact of how these odds are derived. Now, it's been said several times over the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, couple of months or so, that the odds are derived from, I think they said a 10,000 simulation set from these horses. Okay, so there's a 10,000 race simulation set happening in the background, I believe, and these odds represent the chance of that horse winning that particular race. I believe that's what we're being told. Okay, so you've got roughly $6.80, we'll call it $7. So that horse should win 1 in every 7 races based on the 1,000 race simulation. Okay, and then you've got this one up here, roughly 10 to 1, Little Sister. That horse should win roughly 1 in 10, but it's not happening like that, is it? If you've been racing for long enough, you will know that there are horses that have these $6 and $7 odds that are winning more like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 type races. So there's a big variation between these $6 or $7 odds. Breathless is a good example. A horse of mine, or my brother's in fact, and Ducky Malone is another good example. These horses are running with starting odds around 7 or 8, but they're winning about 1 in 4 currently, something like that. Now, that could be, my theory on that could be that, okay, so you've got a 1,000 race data simulation happening in the background, but maybe that data simulation is happening on raw Z DNA genetics, if you like. Okay, and it's not taking into account, this could be why we're seeing overperformers and underperformers, just a complete theory, because because the data set, that simulation is only based on raw Z genetics, so not form, in other words, or not the ability for a horse to have a good record against another horse, because Rob said in the chat just yesterday or the day before that it was one of the most important aspects was that the performance versus the horses in the field. So if you've got one horse that has a dominant statistic over the rest of the horses in the field, then that's probably going to maintain that dominant statistic, I would imagine. Okay, so one reason, or the reason behind maybe why we're seeing this variation or the overperformer, underperformer type scenario, because to be honest, you're seeing the overperformer in a certain odds set. Nearly all the overperformers are in the $5 odds to $8 odds. You don't see many underperformers at that level, which is interesting. Okay, and then you get the underperformers tend to be maybe 15, 18, 20 to 1 and longer out that way. So could it be the fact that these 5, 6, 8 to 1 horses eventually get their form going and eventually start building up race wins, and then that form ends up making those types of horses overperform or win more races than what their raw original DNA data suggests that they should if there was no form component in the overall mix? Something to think about anyway, because form looks like it plays a pretty major part in this, although maybe form is only specific to each distance, because we see a lot of people that are tanking their horses to get them to grade 4 and grade 5 and ruining their winning percentages to a degree, so then they can gorge themselves on those lower races and win lots of money as they come back up to the grade 1s and 2s and then tank all the way back down again. Now, one way we could potentially get around that is to, or would be to, make the form aspect across all races. Okay, so if there is a confidence aspect or a form aspect, which there seems to be, which slightly improves your horse's performance or has the potential of beating the odds, if you like, then if we were to put that across the entire horse, it would almost single-handedly pull tanking right out of the game, because you wouldn't want to race in a 1200 or 1000 metre race if your horse was a weapon at 2200, 2400, 2600, because you might ruin your win percentage to a certain degree, which will take your confidence, take the horse confidence or the horse form away from that horse, and then it'll stop winning at its best distances as well. So that would be interesting as well. Question here from Joseph. Do I think an offspring copies more of one parent's gene over the other? There's a theory on this going around that the female genes are more dominant, and that could be the case. You see it in colours where the male gene is more dominant in passing on colours, about 60 to 40% or something like that. The father colour dominates over the mother. So there is no reason why that couldn't be the case, that as far as racing ability is concerned, that 60% is dominant from the mother and 40% from the father, absolutely. There's no reason why that wouldn't be the case, but I haven't seen any data yet to suggest that that absolutely is the case. And even if it was, 60-40 is somewhat close enough to 50-50 that it's going to make a difference, but not that big a difference. It's not like we're talking 80-20 or something like that. Okay, any more questions out there? What have we got? Let's flick back. Let me check if we've got races. I know you guys can't see this. You couldn't see the Zest page either that I was referring to either, could you? But anyway, that's the beauty of live. I told you I always stuff stuff up. I should have switched back. But I'll promise I'll show you a race if there's a good one coming. Looks like... okay, that's a good question. I'll answer that one in a moment. IQ. Okay. I got a class 4. We might catch that class 3 in a moment. All right, so the question from IQ, whatever the rest of that name is there a 1,022 race limit? I've seen this statistic on OpenSea, for instance, 50 of 122. No, I believe that 122 is a moving target at the moment, and what you're probably seeing is the horse in the Z ecosystem that has the most races, which is setting the ceiling currently, has 122. So if you check back on that in 2 or 3 days, and that horse that has 122 has raced 3 or 4 more times, it should say 126 or 27 or something like that. Okay, I think, because I saw that stat not so long ago when it was first introduced on OpenSea, and it was like 380 or something. Okay, so now it's 1,022, so that makes sense. Is it possible? Okay, let's switch over there, Joseph. Look at me, like a pro. Joseph, look what I've got up here, just for that very question, if we had a colour question. Is it possible for 2 common coat colours to mate and have a rare colour? Let's have a look. I'm not exactly sure. So if you Google Z coat colours or Z run colours, you'll get to this page here, breeding colours. And it's a good thing to check, because actually one of the key, I mentioned at the start that as a community we might have seen that trouble that happened yesterday coming if we all had been communicating behind the scenes or something, because there was some kind of dodgy stuff going on. One of the things that I noticed, and I did put a warning up in the sell page, was that a couple of people were trying to sell common colour coats as rare colours. Okay, so that was one of the red lights that I saw, and I did put a post up, but I probably should have contacted the admin and said, hey, these guys are doing this, and named them. I don't like to publicly name people because it gets all messy. But anyway, you know what I mean. We probably could have looked after that situation or seen it coming. But as a community, stay strong. We're only going to get stronger and better and more successful as this grows, for sure. This is going to be, in my opinion, don't listen to what I say as far as buying stuff, but I believe it's going to be big, bigger than big, huge. All right. Don't read too much into these colour descriptions. I think they're just there for entertainment. I love the idea that the colours play an aspect in how a horse runs. I wish that was the case, but I don't believe it is. Skip a generation theory. Okay, some questions coming. Let me stop gibbering and get on to what we came here for, which was, can two commons create a rare? All right, so exact colour. So if it was 2 exact colours, 40% chance of identical colour code as parents, 25% chance of identical colour box. The colour box refers to these boxes. So this is a colour column. The colour box is the individual box, okay? So that would remain in common. 15% chance of a less rare, okay? That's not possible with 2 commons, so it would just stay equal, rare. 4% chance of any coat below parent's colour box, if any, or the same if it's 2 commons. Okay, so that would stay the same. And a 1% chance of any colour coat in the group above. So in that case, 2 commons have a 1% chance of producing a rare. No percent chance, the way I'm reading this, a 0% chance of producing a super rare. All right, let's have a look at this one. So this is not identical colour, but in the same colour group. The first one was identical colours. With identical colours, you also have the chance of producing a super coat. All right. Okay, so this one is not identical colour, but same colour group. Am I reading colour group wrong? Maybe colour group is the entire thing. I might have given you a bum steer there. Maybe this is colour group, the whole thing. When I'm reading the second one, it looks to be that way. All right, anyway, you guys can read this for yourselves and make up your own mind, but it doesn't look like you can get a super rare that way. 30% chance, same colour as father, same as mother. 13, same colour box as father. Okay, well, there you go. So it looks like it might be a possibility. 13% chance, it depends how you interpret this. 13% chance of any colour from the same colour box as the father. Now, that depends on whether the colour box is the entire column or just this section. I would need official clarity on that to make the decision. Yeah. But it looks like that 13% chance is a random colour from the same colour box, whether that's the entire grouping or just the rarity box that the father is in. Same with the mother, 15% chance any adjacent colour box. Again, is that the entire colour column or just the rarity box adjacent? It's hard to sort of say exactly. I might get one of the Z guys on here at some stage and we'll get some clarity on this. 19% any colour code below parents, okay, so not, and 1% any above. So it doesn't look like it there, and not there either, okay. I'm not sure, it depends how that's interpreted, sorry about that, bit whiffy-washy there, isn't it? Okay, so depending on how you interpret the word colour box, maybe, if you interpret it as I did initially, that your colour box is this, the actual specific box that you are sitting in, rather than this being a colour column, all right? Or sorry, a colour group. Am I reading that wrong as we talk, am I? Hang on, let's have a quick look, quick look. So colour box I would definitely take as the more specific one, yes. 15% chance less for a colour group, okay, now I'm getting this. Ding, ding, ding. 4.5% chance any colour below parents. 1% chance in the same colour group above the parents. So it looks like there's a 1% chance there of something better. Colour box, no. Colour box. Okay, so all those boxes are the specific box, and colour group is the bigger one. 19% chance any colour code below. 1% any colour in the same group above the parents, colour box if any. Okay, so no super rares, only rares could come from that, and none there. So it doesn't look like you can produce, sorry that was such a roundabout way of getting there, but it doesn't look like you can produce super rares from commons, okay? The skip generation theory. A good mudder, what's a mudder? I don't know the cool kid lingo, could produce the mother of a mudder. I think I know what you're saying. Could a mudder, is that a mud runner? Like something that's, are you talking mud runner? So something that's not performing so well right now. I think that's what's going on here. Could a horse that's not performing so well right now produce a champion horse down the line? Yes, I think so, absolutely. You're also seeing, if you look at the history, the genetics or the family tree of Pinkman, for example, you will see that his parents, his direct mother and father aren't that great, but his grandparents are very, very good. So there's a bit of a theory in the back of my head that, and I like this idea, and I think it could be a thing, that the genetics, the breeding genetics are coming from the grandparents more so than the parents. Okay, and that means that you could get these family trees that go champions, duds, champions, duds, champions, duds, like that as well. Runs well in the mud. I picked it, UFO nut. Advice on finding horses' preferred distance. Okay, this is a cool one. Just picked up a Z3, only raced once at 24 and 1. That's not always a great sign, to be honest. Completely new and don't want to make any major mistakes. Okay, so what a lot of people, newbies, will make mistakes on, and unfortunately a lot of people like me will often buy these horses when I see them on OpenSea, is that people will get these horses and run them minimal times, 2, 3, 4 times, and they might not get any wins, and they think this horse sucks. But then if you're following the odds, they might be $4, $5, $4, $6, which is a sign of an incredible horse which hasn't found its feet yet. All right? Those horses almost always will find their feet and become champion horses. So odds, although there's a lot of underlying data that you need to keep your eye on, odds, win percentages, distances, and a few other different things as well, including strength of the field and the class that you're racing in, odds are probably, in my opinion, the most obvious way to see how talented your horse is in the blink of an eye. Okay, if your horse has got $5 and $6 odds, even $7 and $8 odds, if it's got anything under 10s in a stacked class 1, you've got something incredible. If it's even under 15s in a stack class 1, you've probably got something incredible. All right, so odds are the easiest way to see a great horse in a heartbeat or a blink of an eye. Race win percentage is then second, but with just one race, your horse might have been 15 or 18 to 1, in which case might have been why it was put on the market, potentially. Now, as far as buying new horses, whether they be unraced or raced, if you're buying unraced, you can generally, if you've been in the game for 3 months or a couple of months and you're a good student of the game and really following odds and win percentages and distances and all that stuff, and even keeping an eye on other strong horses in the Z ecosystem, you can probably get a reasonable idea of how good your horse is within 3 to 5 races. Okay, it's not going to be definitive, but my tactic at the moment, and I've nearly probably finished to be honest, is to buy Z1, Z2s, whatever, run them 3 or 5 times. If they're good and got potential, keep running them. If they're good and get good stats and good winning percentages and good odds, keep them. If they're 20 to 1, 30 to 1, there's not a lot of Z1s that are 20 to 1, 30 to 1 to be honest, then I tend to run them 2 or 3 times, leave a little bit of meat on the bone. They still could be good at some distances, but most of those 20 to 30 to 1ers are average at best, even at their best distance. Now they might have, and I'll probably get caught by this in the future, when they start adding fatigue or when they start adding, you know, mud runners running in the wet, in the bad weather, then a lot of these horses might be future absolute champions, and I'll rue the day that I sold them. But with the limited amount of information we have, and we're sort of all jockeying to take up our positions at the moment, then, you know, that's my current tactic. And you can only base that on the limited information we have, and you're going to make some wrong decisions and some right decisions. Hopefully I'm making more right than wrong. So when you get these new unraced horses, keep your eye on them. What I wouldn't do, what I would advise against of, is running a donkey 100 times till it's, you know, no wins, a couple of places, you know, that kind of thing. And then there is absolutely no doubt that that thing in the current conditions is no good. Is it a good breeder? Maybe, we don't know. It's just not desirable. Whereas a horse that's had 3 runs, 1 short, 1 mid, 1 long, and it might be showing 10 to 1 odds in the middle there. But if you're experienced and you know that field was soft, then that might not fit your stable, and you can probably sell that for the same cost of buying a new unraced one and then start again. Now that I've told everyone this though, that gig is up, probably that gig is up. All right, let's see if there's more questions here, guys. When breeding, well, we're just on questions, so I'll switch back to full screen here so you can see me better. Not that you probably want to. We'll go another 20 minutes probably. I thought I had a drink here. I don't have a drink. That's all right. Now, sorry, one last question on that last point. When you're looking at raced horses, again, the easiest way to get a good snapshot is search their odds. You can type in their name into the Discord forum. You can ask me. Don't ask me too many times though, because it gets exhausting. But you can ask me if this horse is any good, or at least to pull the data on it. I can give you that, and you can make up your own mind. I generally don't offer opinions on whether or how good I think a horse is. I'll say, yeah, it looks pretty good, or I don't know about that one. When breeding was open before, how many horses were usually listed in the stud surface? Well, this is not going to be terribly relative, but before, most recently, the gas price was astronomical on breeding. It got up to like $300 US just as a gas transaction on the breed, and it was like $60 or $70 just to enter the stud farm, okay, without even getting any breeds. So it would cost the stud owner 60 or 70. Now that is all switched to Matic, or being switched over to Matic. So we're a complete Matic ecosystem and feeless for the time being, which is epic. It's going to be unreal. But what is going to happen is there's going to be, so to answer the question quickly, there was probably 10 to 30 horses in the stud, but there's going to be hundreds, maybe even thousands going in there, because everyone is looking, and this is a good point, guys, actually, and girls, guys and girls. Everyone is thinking they're going to make money. Breeding, studding, racing. Now, the reality is a lot of people find out pretty quickly that unless you really know what you're doing, racing isn't terribly profitable. It is for some of us that have been in here for 6 months and know how to race and know which horses to put in. Put in the high yield horses, the really good horses, and don't put in the borderline ones to a degree. Okay, but then that's going to happen to breeding. Breeding at the moment must look like a cash cow because everyone's getting 1, 2, 3 ETH for bred legends and these kind of horses, okay? But that's because the supply and demand isn't there. But once there could be 1,000 horses produced on the first day of breeding, most of them are going straight on open sea. Okay, so if you're thinking before you go breeding, just think about what is the desirability of the offspring that I'm producing in comparison to the other 1,000 horses that are going to be competing for new users' dollars, okay, for horse sale dollars. If you don't have something special, whether it be a special colour, special race ability, something that sets you out from the crowd, super coats, then you're just going to be, well, I think it's going to be a tough sell, to be honest. I really think it's going to be a tough sell because there'll be hundreds, thousands of horses produced in the first week. Thousands. So I'm setting myself up, a couple more questions. I'm setting myself up with the best racers. I want to be one of the top racing stables and then produce, I mentioned this at the start of the video, but produce offspring, sell them on, but then mentor the racers that buy the offspring because that's a win-win for me. Not only can I help other stables get a higher winning percentage and get the most profit out of my bred horses, but it will also make my studs and mares look at their best. Okay, in the past, a couple of my horses, Grandeur and Breathless Edge, have been bred a little bit willy-nilly. They were both had over 25 offspring when I bought them. Going forward, I will monitor that and I'll only breed those horses with the premium mares so that we get premium results and then hand them over and then support that with stats as well as we go. This is the real rod. What are we talking about? Okay, any more questions? There was a couple here. Okay. As a movie reference from Let It Ride. Oh, the mudder's making a joke, okay. Oh, I got my, congrats Alex, you got your first horse named her Rachel Alexandra. I don't know that reference, sorry. Odds were $3.55, whatever that means. Oh, okay, what that means, Austin, is don't sell that horse. That is a gun, okay? So elaborating on where we got with that before, if you're still watching, and I hope you are, give me a shout out if you are. What I would next do is expand slowly outwards, okay? Well, it doesn't even have to be slowly outwards. I would race that horse in a mid-range free race, in a short free race, and see how it goes. And then once you've got one at 1,200 or 1,000 and one at 14, 16 or 18, and we know that your horse is good, I think you said it was 22. We know it's good there, so it's likely to be good at 2,000, 2,4, 2,6. But test it in 16, test it in 1,000, and if you're still getting $4 odds, then you've got something super special, and then you can slowly expand out and then start introducing paid racing in the lower grades. And that's the other thing, if you have something that looks really, really good early, stop free racing and just start paid, because the last thing you want to do is win, you know, free racing grade 4s and get the 4 points and move you up to grade 3 when you can enter grade 4s paid. Okay, so there's a little bit of a balance there as well, but it looks like you've got an absolute belter, $3.55. Contact me on Discord and I'll buy it for market price. Just joking. Of course I would if you offered it, but you shouldn't. I would be keeping that one for good. Okay, Colleen is giving us the Mudder likes the slop. All right, let's not go into that. There could be, yeah, let's not touch the slop. Not the column, just the box, my honest. Are you having a lend to me, Colleen? If I put all those sentences together, I'll let the kids at home play that game, but there's a few words in there where it just gets a little off track. Why are we unnamed? Why are there unnamed dirty dad jokes? Sorry. Why are there unnamed foals listed on OpenSea? You have an option of naming your foal when you produce an offspring or not. I won't be naming my foals in this next upcoming breed because I think that's one of the most awesome things about naming this horse, which will be in the ecosystem forever and changing hands. And you get to name it. You can name it your own name, like your own personal name. You can have a horse named after yourself if you like. But I love thinking up names and quirky names and Aussie slang. I love using Aussie slang like Flamin' Galah. Someone bought Flamin' Galah off me the other day, which is it's an Aussie slang. You're a Flamin' Galah. Means you're a bit of a silly fool. All right. Shout out to Rod. Yeah, Rod is an absolute legend of the forum, isn't he? If you're on here, Rod, give us a shout. You're probably not. Too busy. Zombie Boy. We love him. I will buy Zombie Boy off you. Just message me and we'll work out a deal. Oh my gosh. I'm always looking for these best horses. In fact, there is, I noticed on OpenSea at the moment that Dez, the Z1 horse, Dez, D-E-Z, is for sale for 49 ETH. And I think, I don't have the money to put into that right now, but I think that's a good price. And you're probably shaking your head at home going, wow, it's nearly 100 grand. But look, I think that horse will do more than 100 grand in offspring sales and race wins in the coming 6 months. Yeah, Des is awesome. Lots of good horses floating around. I certainly wouldn't sell my gun horses that cheaply. Billions going for 125, Kyle. I think it's a bargain. I wouldn't have let Billion. I know you got to take profit, and I've done that. And now that I'm on house money now. All my ETH that I put in has come back out, and I've got my ETH back. So I can sit from here and say, well, that's a bargain, and I wouldn't have sold Billions. But when you pay, King would have paid about $1,000 to $1,500 for Billions, maybe $1,200. It's pretty hard to knock that back, but I think you'll see $1 million horses shortly. And Billions, if it goes on the resale, could be one of them. If not, I think Atari, when we launch Atari, one of those could go. Well, maybe because there's going to be 10 of them, they won't go for $1 million, but I think they'll surpass the 125K. I think that is a bargain for Billions. I was chatting with Beaver 3 months ago, and we got to an impasse. He was at 25 ETH, I was at 18. And I decided not to go up to the 25 at the time. I just bought Breathless Edge at the time, so it was a little bit out of my range, but it would have been a great buy. My favourite horse is the unrun horse Satoshi, a Z1 Nakamoto called Satoshi in the rarest colour, the rarest breed, the rarest Z number in the rarest colour, and its name is Satoshi. How good is that? Nakamoto breed Satoshi. Sorry. I love that horse. I haven't raced it. It's probably a 20-to-1 donkey. But could I race it? I'm not sure I could. Any other questions? Let's have a look. Mega, what's doing? Austin is here. Good. Okay. Great stuff. Good to still have you here. How many people we got watching along? We got 5, 6? We might even have 10. Have we cracked 10? Zombie Boy. We love Zombie Boy. Dead horse, tomato sauce. Oh, Aussie slang. That's a good one. Yeah. Des is awesome. ETH ready for the drop? Yeah, Austin, we all do. Interestingly, I think a lot of the older stables were sitting out of the early drops, but now the frenzy is in. We can see what's going on. And to be brutally honest, the drop prices are, in my opinion, well below market price. And that's good. It's good for everyone getting in, but I think you're going to see this next drop go even quicker, because now not only do you have the new players wanting to buy, but stables like myself are like, oh, should I get another Z1? Should I get a couple of Z5s? Should I rebuild my Z10 army? I'm not sure. And whether or not they're going to limit us to 1 horse per stable, I don't think they'll do that this time yet. That will be in the future. This might be the last free roll as far as buying bulk horses goes, in my opinion. So when does a horse go for 1 million? How shortly? Kyle, yeah, I think there's several horses that could go to that level. We got 10,000 users on Discord, right? Which is great. And there's a few big players coming in buying horses without too much care for what they have to pay. Hence the 125K for billions. Now, I think it's a matter of time before something like Breathless Edge or Ducky Malone or Grandeur. I don't think horses like Des or Phantom Pacer, who's just ripping through the Z1 scene at the moment. I tried to buy that off Hero the other day, but he wouldn't have a bar of it, and good on him, because he shouldn't. It's too good to sell. But I think it's a matter of time before someone says, I want one of the best Z1s in the game, and I'm willing to pay whatever it takes. And if they come to me, I wouldn't sell for 500,000, absolutely. I had a fake donkey offer from one of those guys yesterday for $500,000. Luckily, I said no. But, you know, at 1 million, I have to take it because it will get me a house. And I don't have a house, I'm renting. You're in my garage, welcome to my garage. This wall is just one part of the garage. Over there is all mess and lawnmowers. Anyway, but it shows you guys, like, I'm humble background, invested, I think me and my brother invested 7,000 each to begin with, and then built up. There's still time to do that. Now, if this game keeps going, you know, it already is getting close to being life-changing as far as the money that's starting to come back out. How much should you have in ETH? Whatever you can afford, Lock. Is that a Lachlan? My little boy's called Lachlan. Whatever you can afford, mate. Don't overextend. This is not a sure thing. We could see regulation. We could see anything could happen. So only how much you're willing to lose is always a good sort of mantra. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to anything I say when it comes to investing, but only as much as you're willing to lose. In the drop, you will need to hop on your price range quick and press buy. Yes, it'll just be like, oh, that looks good, buy. It won't even have time to recognize rare colors, I don't think. Maybe in the lower Zs, 7, 8, 9s, 10s. In the Z1s, they're out. There's no rares and super rares left anyway. And Z2s, I don't think there's any rares or super rares left either. I think I'm right in that. I'm not 100% on that. The Z1s are all out. So it'll just be like, I like that. You know, if you want mares or you want colts or mares, it'll just be like, colt beauty, buy. Colt, buy. Okay. You might, if you want to buy two, you might be best off having two computers open. So whilst one transaction is going through, you can put another one through on the other computer. I don't know how that works, to be honest. It's going to be hectic. You're going to get a house real soon. I hope so, Kyle. It's been a dream. Been working hard for 10, 15 years to try and do that. And then, isn't it funny that I'm trying to find the joy in games and find that childhood joy again. And I stumbled across Z-Run. And it might be the thing that brings, you know, a house when all that hard work and sweating it out all those years. You know, I'm doing a lot of hard work in here too, but it's different. It's fun, as you guys know. Do you think we'll still be able to get Genesis horses during the next trial? No, I think, Colleen, they'll have some bot blockages, whether it be like a capture, where you've got to fill in something before you buy or as you buy. I hope they do. They had something running last time that looked like it was checking for bot. Before it was like the screen would sort of say, please wait while we check your browser. I think that might have been checking for automations. So I think they've probably got that sorted, but I expect to see 5,000 to 10,000 people chasing. Last time was only 500 horses. I expect it will be 1,000. Just checking what time it was. I thought, oh, I've got to pick up my boy from school. I'm getting carried away. I think you'll see 5,000 to 10,000 people chasing, this time maybe 1,000, 1,500 horses. Also, Kyle, got your brother? Yeah, me and my brother have always been, you know, thinking up these cool schemes and games that we like to play. So we got into this, and I just kept buying horses, and he was like, oh shit, should we stop buying horses? I'm like, it's all right, don't worry, we'll get it back. And luckily, I probably extended too far, but got a bit lucky there. All right, guys. What can you say about the skins? Yeah, I'm looking forward to skins. Give me a couple more questions if you got them. I'll do another 5-10 minutes. If there's any more there, we will do them. Otherwise, we'll wrap it. Skins, I'm looking forward to skins because I think you can really get into a real brand there with your stable. So if you get a graphic designer to do something really abstract and cool that matches in with your stable, then, you know, potentially, again, you know, thinking the bigger vision, you could be selling these high premium offspring with your Poseidon skin. People could take it off if they want, but if they want to still sort of race under the Poseidon label, if you like, well, then they can leave that skin on. Or make your own skins and make your own stable. It's probably better than running my skin, isn't it? Stupid idea. What do you think about the idea of jockeys? Look, I was talking this up, to be honest, early on, and I got it cut down because a lot of people were like, look, it's really important, and I agree with this now, that the complexity of the game doesn't get so great that it's a barrier for entry. Okay, so at the moment, and I think most of you will agree, that currently the game is the perfect combination of simplistic, but also has enough data and information behind it that if you dig deep enough and put the hard work in and, you know, have the right data feed, then you can do very well. Okay? Now, there will be things like fatigue and track conditions, wet, good, bad, however they rate them. There is going to be also, I believe, location bias. So some horses might like running in North America and not in Australia, or vice versa. And there's going to be other things like that, and there's also the form bias as well. So it's really, really interesting. So just at the moment, it's great because a new player can come in, put a horse in, win a race. Okay? If the jockey comes in and becomes really, really critical in actually the winning part, and it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks to really understand, then you're going to lose a lot. So we still need to maintain the simplicity, but also have that factor with all these other traits coming in that you really need to manage your horses. And I've heard about today handicaps being a possibility in the future as well, or being talked about. Okay, so where your horse might get an extra weight to carry, like in real horse racing. So the horse might get different weights from each other, thereby hopefully evening out the races a little bit. Okay, they won't all be handicapped, I wouldn't think, but there might be some handicapped big feature races. Okay, that could be a thing also. All right, so we need to, I mean, I was talking also about all sorts of different things where you could have blinkers and this and that, and some horses might react well or poorly. And I think too many traits and too many pieces to the puzzle makes the game more complex and creates a bigger boundary to entry. Doofy said in the clubhouse that current wins places changes breeding. If I win the Griffin, should I just stop racing? Well, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm handicapped Breathless Edge. Well, I think he would obviously get one of the higher weights for sure in those races. Look, to be honest, I'm not sure if one race and one win is going to do a lot. What if, for example, and this is becoming more clear or more of a thing based on what Rob said yesterday, which was that it's very important your track record against other horses. What if it's more like you build up a particular dominance over the other horses and then that dominance is then passed on to the offspring? That could be how that works, rather than pure race stats of 100% or 50% or 30%, because horses like Breathless Edge and Grandeur has been smashing it. Grandeur has just overtaken Breathless Edge on both win percentage and place percentage. And that's over 150 races. Do I expect him to stay there? No. He's been in incredibly hot form and I expect it to drop off. But he's certainly well outperformed what I thought he would do. But yeah, it seems to be a thing that the better the horse form at the time of breeding seems to pass on some of that winning genetics down the line, potentially. All right, so we will keep an eye on that in the first breeds. I'm going to be breeding Grandeur and Insane Him and Breathless Edge. And we have a couple of others as well, and we'll see what those offspring look like, how they run. Let's say I want to invest 20 grand in horses, all Genesis. My goal is to sell these unraced in the future. It's completely up to you. Biob. I don't know. Is that your name? I don't know. It's completely up to you. The strategy changes. Z1s are obviously the premium. They're the rarest. There's 1,000 of them with the 2s, 3s, 4s. The 2s, 3s, 4s aren't catching the market, aren't really catching the imagination of the market and the demand at the moment, but the ones are. They will catch up in the future, I would imagine. You could buy 3 Z1s, you could buy an army of Z10s, you could buy a whole range across the board. 1 Z1, a Z2, a Z3, you could probably buy one of each for that money. I can't give you advice on what would be best there. You've got to make your mind up on that yourself. All right, everyone, guys and girls, thanks for joining me. I don't know how many we had, but it was fun talking to you all and answering questions. We'll do it again soon. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, because we need to get some subscribers so this looks like a legitimate thing. People coming in new to Z are obviously seeing, asking questions into YouTube, and my page comes up, and we only currently have 125, and I bet there's a bunch of you watching this either now or later that haven't yet subscribed. So hit that so that we can build the Z community, and I'll be back next week and we'll do it all again, all right? Thanks for that. I'll see you next time. Bye.